Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Well everybody, for this episode, we're going to go back to the merry old land of Oz to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about on my show for a very, very long time. Wicked. What started out as a 1995 novel by author Gregory Maguire, inspired by L. Frank Baum's Oz books and the 1939 movie musical, soon became a Tony Award-winning Broadway musical in 2003, with music and lyrics by the genius Stephen Schwartz and a book by Winnie Holzman. The show is told from the perspective of two witches, Elphaba and Glinda, before and after Dorothy Gale's arrival in Oz, and explores their complex friendship along with their relationship, which is tested by their contrasting personalities, conflicting viewpoints, shared love interests, reactions to the corrupt rule of the Wizard of Oz, and ultimately, Elphaba's tragic fall. Now, believe me when I say that I got to see this show on stage 4 times in my life, twice at the Pantages and twice at the Segerstrom. And to me, Wicked has got to be one of my favorite stage musicals, up there with Les Miserables, Music Man, Phantom of the Opera, Mamma Mia, Annie, The Lion King, and others. And not only did I get to see it with my family, but I also got to see it with Sophia Easley, a girl who I knew from college, and my musical Theater Village friends. And speaking of which, because of my several times performing with them in The Wizard of Oz, I hope that someday, if possible, that musical Theater Village can perform Wicked themselves. I mean, that would really be a blast. Plus, I heard that several years ago, in one episode of My Little Pony, Princess Celestia and Princess Luna got to see a pony version of Wicked while they were on a sisterly vacation. Anyway, for many years, ever since the late 2000s, when I heard news of Wicked being turned into a movie, you better believe that me and my sister were absolutely excited. And when the 2020s came around and I heard that it was going to be a 2-parter, I felt very curious since no movie musical has ever been made like that before. And the film that I'll be blogging today is the first half of the Wicked story. So let's get started. Released on November 22nd, 2024, the movie is Wicked Part 1. Now, let's get started. The film follows Elphaba Throp, a powerful young girl who is misunderstood because of her green skin. While attending Shiz University with her disabled sister Nessa Rose, she forges an unlikely but profound friendship with Galinda Upland, a beautiful and good-natured student with an unflinching desire for popularity. Later, after being invited to the Emerald City and encountering the wonderful Wizard of Oz, their relationship soon reaches a crossroad and their lives begin to take very different paths. So, what did I think? Well, like I said earlier, I had real high hopes for this movie, and I've been looking forward to seeing it for many years. And after seeing it twice in theaters, it did not disappoint. I loved this movie, from the sets, the story, the acting, even the songs. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just move on to Mustang notes. Now, believe it or not, this film has had a rocky development history behind the scenes. In a 2009 interview, Gregory Maguire stated that he had sold the rights to ABC to make an independent, non-musical TV adaptation of Wicked, which would not be based on Winnie Holzman's script. On January 9th, 2011, it was reported by Entertainment Weekly that ABC would be teaming up with Salma Hayek and her production company to create a TV miniseries of Wicked based solely on Maguire's novel. Sadly, no further information such as casting had been revealed. Then, in December 2012, following the success of Les Miserables, Mark Platt, who was a producer of the stage version with Universal Studios, announced the film was going ahead, later confirming that it was aiming for a 2016 release. After a long development, Universal announced in 2016 that the film would be released in theaters on December 20th, 2019, with Stephen Daldry directing. However, on February 2nd, 2021, it was announced that John M. Chu, who had previously directed Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights, would take over as director. In August of that same year, Alice Brooks was confirmed as the movie's cinematographer after previously working with Chu on In the Heights. Speaking of which, principal photography began in December 2022 in several filming locations in the UK. Sadly, filming was suspended from July 13th to November 8th due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike. Thankfully, filming resumed on January 24th, 2024, and concluded on January 26th. The film's visual effects were done by Industrial Light and Magic and Framestore, with Pablo Hellman serving as production visual effects supervisor. After the movie was released in theaters, it received positive reviews from critics. It became a pop culture phenomenon. It was named one of the best films of 2024 by the American Film Institute. It won Best Film at the National Board of Review. It won 2 Oscar Academy Awards for Best Costume Design and for Best Production Design, and it grossed about $747.2 million worldwide on a $150 million budget, becoming the highest-grossing Oz film, the highest-grossing musical film adaptation, and the 5th highest-grossing film of 2024. Now, from my experience while seeing the movie in theaters, even though it's only the first half of the story, I find this to be one of the best movie musicals ever, and I think the sets are really amazing, from Munchkinland to Shiz University to the Emerald City. Plus, the visual effects range from breathtaking to fantastic, and I think the story, ever since it debuted on stage, is still a lot better than the story that was written for Sam Raimi's Oz the Great and Powerful. And I'm sure my friends at Musical Theater Village would agree with me. I mean, I like how it's about a character who is considered as an outcast, has trouble controlling her abilities, and in reality doesn't want to hurt anybody, and how it focuses on the relationship between 2 close friends who started out as rivals. Also, for some time now, I've heard folks compare Wicked, both stage and film, to beloved films like Disney's Frozen, DreamWorks' Prince of Egypt, along with 2 recent films like Mufasa the Lion King and Transformers 1, which I hope to give a blog someday if I can find the proper time to do them. Also, I think the Grimoire is the most thought-provoking part of the story in my opinion, mainly due to every spell from that book being irreversible once they've been cast. Another thing that I love regarding this movie are the classic songs written and composed by Stephen Schwartz. And while watching the movie, I just can't help but sing along every time I listen to them. By the way, let me tell you what I think about some of these songs. Let's start with the opening song, No One Mourns the Wicked, sung during the film's prologue by Glinda and the Munchkins. To me, this is an amazing opener, and I like that during the song, Glinda discusses Elphaba's backstory, where she was born from an affair between Melina Thropp and a traveling salesman, whose identity I'll talk about later this November, and she was ostracized from birth due to her unnatural green skin and uncontrollable magic powers. Plus, I also like that the film includes an extra scene where young Elphaba reads with her little sister Nessa Rose, which I find was a really sweet moment until it got ruined by bullies. Next is Dear Old Shiz, sung by Glinda and the Shiz University Choir. To me, while it is one of the shortest songs in the show, I think it makes a very calming and beautiful school anthem. The next song is What Is This Feeling? Now, believe it or not, this was one of the first Wicked songs that I ever listened to before I ever saw the show on stage. And I really want to thank some of my classmates from my high school drama class for introducing me to it back then. In my opinion, this song is very humorous, and I like how the lyrics express the intense feelings of loathing that Glinda and Elphaba have for each other upon their first meeting. Plus, I just love that jump scare at the end. Next we come to Dancing Through Life. To me, this is a lively and carefree number, and I like how it showcases Fiero's philosophy of living life without worries. Plus, I like how the song is performed at the Shiz Library and then at the Ozdust Ballroom, where Elphaba and Galinda form significant relationships. Also to note, I like that during the song, we learned that Elphaba's black hat used to belong to Galinda's grandma. By the way, I know this is not really on subject, but I must mention that during the late 2000s, not long before I graduated from high school, my friend Sarah Launcer wrote and sang her own Dancing Through Life song, and I highly recommend you viewers to listen to it along with her other songs, which I think can still be purchased on iTunes. Another song to talk about is One Short Day, where Elphaba and Galinda explore the wonders of the Emerald City. To me, this song is very upbeat, and I like how the scene showcases the vibrant and magical atmosphere of the city and the growing friendship between the two main leads. Also, what makes this song very special is that it features a lot of cameos. For example, the original Elphaba and Glinda actresses Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth portray the leading members of the Emerald City Players. Former Fiero replacement Michael McCory Rose appears as the Wizomania narrator. The show's book writer and screenwriter Winnie Holzman appears as a spectator during the Wizomania, and composer Stephen Schwartz cameos as the Emerald City Guard, who announces to Elphaba and Glinda that the wizard will see you now. And finally, we come to the Act 1 finale, Defying Gravity, where Elphaba sings about her desire to live without limits and to defy the rules that others have set for her. To me, this has got to be one of the most famous songs in the entire show, and I like how it serves as a powerful anthem of self-empowerment and defiance. And that's all I got for Mustang notes. So, let's move on to the film's cast. Our main protagonist, Elphaba Throp, aka the Witch of the West, is played by Cynthia Erivo, whom I remember from the 2022 Disney Plus Pinocchio remake. In my opinion, Cynthia's portrayal of the Witch of the West is absolutely well done, and I find it interesting that Elphie possesses a strong moral compass and a fierce sense of justice. Also, beneath her tough exterior lies a sensitive and vulnerable soul. Also to note, aside from Defying Gravity, I also like the two other songs that Elphaba sings earlier in the film, like The Wizard and I, which I find is very relatable, and my favorite part of the lyrics is where she says, "No father is not proud of you, no sister acts ashamed." And there's the sad song, I'm Not That Girl, which is another one of the first Wicked songs that I've ever listened to. And in my opinion, ever since I first heard it on YouTube back in the mid-2000s, this song has been tugging at my heartstrings, and it always makes me cry every time I listen to it. However, nowadays, I'm curious of how the reprise will be like in Act 2 this November. Anyway, another thing that I like regarding Elphaba is that she was raised by a kind brown bear named Dulcie Bear. I like that she wants to help the animals that are facing discrimination in Oz, and I like that after receiving her black hat, Elfie convinces Madame Morrible to have Galinda tutor alongside her. Our second main character, Galinda Upland, aka Glinda the Good, is played by Ariana Grande, whom I remember as the voice of Princess Diaspro in the Nickelodeon dub of Winx Club, along with Laura in the 2016 Underdogs movie, Penny Pingleton in Hairspray Live, and she sang with John Legend in the 2017 Beauty and the Beast remake. To me, Ariana Grande does a lovely, bubbly, and upbeat performance as Glinda, and while she started out as a somewhat superficial and self-absorbed individual, I like that she gradually transforms into a compassionate and wise figure while becoming close friends with Elphaba. Also, I like that Glinda sort of serves as the narrator for the story, and I think her popular song is a pretty catchy tune. Next we come to Elphaba's little sister, Nessa Rose, played by Marissa Bode, who, before she became paralyzed, no thanks to a car accident when she was 11 years old, performed on stage in local productions such as Little Shop of Horrors, Peter Pan, and Mary Poppins when she was 8 years old. Now, for those who haven't seen the show, according to Elphaba, when their mother Melina was pregnant, her husband Frexpar made her chew milk flowers to avoid Nessa being born with green skin. Sadly, this caused her to be born unable to walk. To me, Nessa seems like another sympathetic character, and I know what it's like to be unable to walk. Believe me, I've had to go through that twice in my life, no thanks to a giant cell tumor affecting my left femur. Also to note, while Nessa is spoiled by her father, I like that she wears her mother's silver-jeweled shoes, which to me was a nice reference to the original L. Frank Baum book. By the way, like a certain beautiful internet reviewer friend of mine, I'm curious as to how Marissa will be able to stand up out of her wheelchair in Act 2 this November. Next up is Fiyero Tegelar, a prince from Winky Country, played by Jonathan Bailey, who began his career as a child actor in Royal Shakespeare Company productions, and he got to perform as Gavroche in a West End production of Les Miserables. Plus, I hear he's going to be in the latest Jurassic World movie this summer. In my opinion, Fiyero is a carefree and charming individual with a reputation for enjoying life to the fullest. However, beneath his easygoing exterior lies a man of great depth and compassion. Also, one of my favorite scenes involving Fiyero is the part where he helps Elphaba release a cowardly lion cub into the forest, and I like that the film gives him a talking horse voiced by Stephen Stanton. Our next character is Bach Woodsman, a Munchkin boy played by Ethan Slater, who played SpongeBob SquarePants in the SpongeBob Broadway musical. To me, Bach is a character with a heart of gold, and while he is in love with Galinda, I like the part where he was recommended by her to ask Nessa out to dance with him at the Ozdust Ballroom. Next up is Dr. Dilliman, the history professor of Shiz University, voiced by Peter Dinklage, whom I remember from Disney's Underdog movie, 2015's Pixels, Avengers Infinity War, the second Narnia movie, and he got to be in a few stinkers like Elf, the fourth Ice Age film, and the Angry Birds movies. Now, I must make something perfectly clear. In the original book by Gregory Maguire, Dr. Dillamond was not humanoid like he was portrayed in the stage musical. He was an ordinary goat. He could talk, but in Oz, that's ordinary. Anyway, I find Dr. Dillamond to be one of the most important characters in Wicked, mainly due to him facing discrimination as one of Shiz's last animal professors. And during his Something Bad song, he reveals that other animals are losing their ability to speak. Plus, I like his friendship relationship with Elphaba, and I felt really bad for Dillamond when he was taken away due to the school board no longer allowing animals to teach. Also to note, Dr. Dillamond was the reason for Galinda changing her name to Glinda due to him constantly mispronouncing it. Another character to talk about is Madame Morrible, the Dean of Sorcery Studies at Shiz University, played by Michelle Yeoh, whom I remember from the James Bond movie Tomorrow Never Dies, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The School for Good and Evil, DreamWorks' Kung Fu Panda 2, the MCU's Shang-Chi movie, Minions: The Rise of Gru, Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank, and The Tiger's Apprentice. Like in the show, Morrible is a Gillicky sorceress who has the ability to control the weather. When she witnessed an accidental release of Elphaba's powers, she insists upon training her personally as a protege, and she suggests to the wizard that Elphaba be brought before him to make her his magic Grand Vizier. Plus, later on, nearing the end of Act 1, Morrible is revealed to be the wizard's press secretary. However, in my opinion, although she appears kind and helpful towards Elphaba, it's all a cover for what she really is. A cold-hearted, manipulative, and opportunistic human supremacist. And I think her nastiest scene in Act 1 is turn the citizens of Oz against Elphaba by spreading the rumor that she is a wicked witch. Finally, we come to the wonderful Wizard of Oz, played by Jeff Goldblum, whom I remember from Earth Girls Are Easy, Cats and Dogs, several of the Jurassic Park movies, the Independence Day movies, DreamWorks' The Prince of Egypt, the MCU's Thor Ragnarok, and Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs. To me, Jeff Goldblum's portrayal as the Great Oz was really surprising, not only due to his intimidating voice behind his giant robotic head, but I never knew that Jeff could sing. I mean, he really does a good job singing A Sentimental Man. Anyway, like in the L. Frank Baum book and in the 1939 film, the Great Oz is a humbug dictator who uses deceit and trickery to hide his own mortal shortcomings, and he came to Oz in a hot air balloon, becoming its ruler after its people fell for his cons. In my opinion, the Great Oz starts out kind and charismatic, and I like the part where he shows Elphaba and Glinda a model of his planned yet-to-be-colored brick road. However, after figuring out that Elphaba can read the Grimoire, which casts a levitation spell that makes Chestory and the other monkey guards sprout wings, the wizard unveils his true nature as a power-hungry, manipulative, and tyrannical con man that wants to keep power in Oz, and it's revealed that he's behind the oppression of the animals, which was done in order to distract the citizens of Oz from his own incompetence as a ruler. And now, on to my final words. Overall, the The first half of Wicked is an awesome movie musical. No pun intended. It has fantastic cinematography, great sets, amazing visuals, a thought-provoking and touching story, classic songs by Stephen Schwartz, memorable characters, spectacular acting, and wonderful costumes. So, if you folks are fans of the Broadway musical or the Oz franchise, then I highly recommend you folks to check this movie out. And believe me, it's making me really excited for part 2 this November. I mean, as King Julian would say it best, how long is this going to take? Anyway, I give this movie a full 100%. Well, that's all for...
Only 9 months till impact.
Yeah, I get it. Now, what to blog next? Well, alright. But if I'm gonna blog that movie, then I'm gonna need some help. And I think I know just who to call. Computer, can you get Lake Copeland over here, please?
Of course, sir.
Awesome. As for the rest of you at home, be sure to tune in next time. Mustang power. I hope.
No one can save you, and no one wants to.